to another episode of Forward. I'm Caleb McCautry.
I'm Lucy Drenth, and today we're going to be interviewing Dr. Skinkis.
Lucy, Caleb, how are you guys today?
We're good. How about you?
Good.
Well,
Thank you for having me.
So, can you share a little bit about your journey and your background that brought you here to be the superintendent at District 208?
Yeah, so I was an education major out of Southern Illinois University, where I also played college football, and got into education and became a history teacher and a football coach. And then about 3 or 4 years into my teaching career, I went back and got my master's in administration. And that led to me becoming a school administrator. I took on an entry-level role as a dean of students at Morton East. From there, I went on to be a vice principal at Mundelein High School. And then I was the principal of Bartlett High School from 2007 to 2011. And I had completed my doctorate and had aspirations of eventually becoming a superintendent. And so in 2011, the RB job opened, and I applied just to get some interview experience, and one thing led to another, and I ended up getting the job. So 13 years later, here I am as your superintendent.
And as our superintendent, what are your main priorities and responsibilities and duties?
Well, the superintendent works for the Board of Education, and the board are the 7 political positions that are appointed by the community. Every 2 years there's an election for whether it's 3 or 4 seats for the Board of Education, but the Board of Education is technically in charge, the directing board of the school, and I am their CEO, so I'm responsible to handle the overall operation of the high school, everything from facilities, finance, human resources, curriculum, student safety. That technically all falls under my umbrella. And then the board sets policy. So I come up with administrative procedures to implement their policies and to help operate the school. And then from there, I hire the assistant sup, the principal, and they hire other administrators to help us run the day-to-day operation. But technically, the superintendent's like the CEO.
Okay.
What programs or initiatives have you started during your time here as superintendent that you think have positively impacted RB?
I think the biggest one, when I look back on my time here so far, I think the biggest one was making the high school a one-to-one high school. So going back probably 7 years ago, it was a big initiative to implement one-to-one, sending students home, every student home with a Chromebook, moving our textbooks to online resources, moving all of our learning strategies and apps into the 21st century. So I think that's probably the biggest one. And then from there, we kind of started to branch off into blended learning, which you're starting to see more teachers do flipped classroom and different instructional strategies to get the content across to students in a different manner. And I think that really helped us get through the pandemic, that we were a one-to-one school and we were already starting to do some blended learning in classes, and our teachers were already doing e-learning days. As rough as that pandemic was, I think us being a one-to-one school and having the technology that we had in place really helped us transition through those rough times. Another initiative I would think is the facilities. I think, we put in the Kennelly Athletic Complex and redid that whole stadium, the track, the tennis courts. We put in a small parking lot. We redid the main gymnasium. We've redone all our roofs. So I think structurally our building's in a place to last for the next 2 decades at least. We've created a nice cycle of maintenance on our facilities so that we should always keep our facilities up to date and in code and safe for our students and for the community to use.
And what are your long-term goals for our district?
Well, long-term goals, I think, something I'm proud of that we're really working on right now is we've been making a great effort to increase the number of dual credit opportunities that our students can use with Triton and with COD, and we have some other schools. So we've always had a strong AP program at RB, but what the dual credit really does is gives us an opportunity now to give kids that aren't in AP classes also an opportunity to earn college credit. And so looking at where we want to be in a few years from now, if we can continue to do the dual credit and dual enrollment in partnership with our AP program, we should really make it realistic so that students could have close to a semester of college hours before they graduate RB. and that would be a great accomplishment. So all of our students have access to having earning some college credits before they leave RB.
What's something unique about being a superintendent specifically here at RB?
Well, I think the thing that's really cool about RB is that it's a single high school, right? So most of your superintendents are in districts where there's multiple high schools or multiple schools that you have to oversee. So having a single school makes it really unique because you really get to be hands-on with the students, the staff, and the community. That could be a good thing, and that could also be sometimes a challenging thing, right? Because there's only one school that everybody's attention's on. So some days it's a great thing when you come here on Friday nights, or you come to a play, or you come and watch a concert, but then if there's an issue, it really, all the energy is focused to one place because there's only one school that I have to deal with.
And what do you love so much about RB, and what do you think sets us apart from all the other schools around us?
This high school is truly the focal point of this community. I mean, I have never seen, I've worked in multiple districts now, and I have never seen a community, I should say communities, because we serve multiple communities, but that are so passionate about the high school, and they want to be a part of it, and they support it, and they volunteer their time for it, and they're excited about having their kids come here. So I think that's the great thing about RB is just, it truly is the focal point on the high school. I mean, you can come here on a Saturday and you could see high school athletic events or high school performances, as well as the local Little League using their field house, or 5 and 6 year olds taking swim lessons in the pool. I mean, it truly is the focal point of our community.
What are you most proud of accomplishing as superintendent? Why is that?
When I first came here as superintendent in 2011, the district was coming off a failed referendum. They were dealing with some financial issues. We were about $2 million in deficit spending, and there were some labor issues between the board and the collective bargaining agreement, and I should say the union. And I think over the last 13 years, we have really put some operational practices in place so that we have run a budget or a surplus budget almost the last 10 years. We've done a great job in not having to increase the community's property taxes for an operating budget. So I think that's really something to be proud of, like when I got here, where we were at financially and whether or not we were going to have to run another referendum and what we were going to cut. And some of the things that we had to cut to get kind of our finances in place have all been brought back, and then we've grown upon those offerings for students. So I'm really proud of the fact that we've been able to stay fiscally responsible for the community, but offer a great educational experience for all of the students.
Out there aspiring to be a leader, what advice would you give them?
Building a strong background on what you want to be a leader of is important, and having content knowledge in your field is important. But I would say the biggest thing that I would share to young people about wanting to become a leader is, number one, get involved in school, get involved outside of school, because you can't do anything successful without putting in the time. So you can't be afraid about putting in the time. But another thing that I think is important to share with our students and how they grow as leaders is working on your interpersonal skills, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're going to lead people, you have to know how to relate to people. You have to know how to build relationships. You have to know how to talk to people. You have to be able to collaborate and come up with solutions. And I think, we've been able to do that here. My relationship with the collective bargaining group has really grown because, I figured out that you have to listen to them and you have to meet them halfway, and how we can work together and come up with creative strategies to achieve our goals. I think sometimes when you're a leader, you get focused on the end goal, right? It's no different. Both of you are student athletes here. It's no different than everybody's focused on wanting to be a champion. But championships aren't won in that final game. They're won in the off season, right? They're won in those off-season workouts or those team-building exercises. It's no different than being a leader of a school district, right? It's focusing on the process, focusing on the relationships, focusing on, how you make the sauce, right? Like that's kind of where I would advise young people that want to become leaders. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just the end game.
Thank you so much, Dr. Skinkis, for participating in this week's episode.
Thank you, Lucy, and thank you, Caleb, for having me. And I look forward to, both of you are juniors, correct?
Yes.
So I look forward to working with you in your senior year, but finish this year strong.
Will do.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Have a great summer, and I look forward to seeing you next school year.
Likewise. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Forward. We look forward to getting to you another day.